So welcome to the Blue Bridge, and so we didn't do it against Newcastle. We went to their ground and got done. So it's all to do in our last two games. So welcome to Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0. Recording this whilst watching the last of the Nottingham Forest Leicester game. Leicester nearly grabbed a dramatic equaliser. Sells pulled off a fantastic save. They've got a minute left in that game. It could be a draw, and it could give Chelsea a lifeline into the Champions League. Even if Forest do win, it doesn't change. The equation doesn't change. We need to get 6 points from our last two games. Otherwise, there's no Champions League football. But if Forest do draw, it makes it a little bit easier for us. The pressure is more going to be on Forest than it is going to be on us. Forest don't seem to be handling the pressure too well at the moment, but it's Villa that we've got to be looking at over our shoulders at the moment, because they've got two matches against teams that have got nothing to play for. We've got a match against Manchester United where they lost again today, and all eyes. Oh, they nearly scored again. Wow. All eyes are going to be on the Europa League Cup. So anything less than, if we don't get a victory against Manchester United, we don't deserve Champions League football anyway. So wishing, if everything goes to plan and we don't get any silly sending offs, which I'll be talking about, then it could be a showdown against Nottingham Forest in the last game of the season to determine who gets Champions League football. Anyway, back to this game, and I'm going to be doing something different because I'm hands up today. Fortunately for me, I didn't actually watch the game because I was having to officiate at my boys' football, running the line for the team. And the good thing is that I had a good result. My boy had a good result because they actually beat the team who are top of the league. They've got two matches to play, and they had to win this game to have any chance of winning the league. Or they still got a chance of winning the league, but there's three teams, similar to what is happening actually in this Champions League shootout, where there's three teams on identical points, and the other two teams must be thanking our side today because we done them a favour and we won 4-2. So well done to my boy on that victory. So Leicester on attack again. I know they've messed up. So I'm kind of they've gone way over the time. So I'm not sure what's going on here. But Leicester look like the team is going to win. But yeah, this game's over. It's a points even, honours even. So we're still ahead of Nottingham Forest. That's a good thing. And Forest seem to be wiltering at the very last minute. So as I said, we've got to beat Forest. They look downtrodden at the moment, so this is a big game. But can we do it? Today we had a difficult task because Newcastle is always a difficult place to go. Loud environment, and that's where I'm going to be. As I said, I'm not going to be talking about the game itself because obviously I didn't see it. I've seen the highlights, and so I can comment on one or two things off the game in the game. But the problem is, and that's why I said during the January window, I said at the beginning of the season, but during the January window, it cemented it for me that our directors are going to cost us top four. Why? Because we just didn't have the experience coming in. And today it showed a lack of experience in going to a cauldron, which is St James's Park, where we have to be not only play the players on the pitch, but we have to play to the crowd as well. We can't get overexcited in the game. We can't lose our heads in the game. So we needed to go out there with a bit of character. That's where an experienced head will allows you to do that. Newcastle had bags of experience out there, and it showed today. We just had lots of kids, and apparently, from what I'm hearing, especially in the first half, we let the occasion get to us, and we didn't do ourselves any justice. Apparently, I heard that we played better in the second half with 10 men as well. And so, Nicholas Jackson. First of all, I want to talk about Nicholas Jackson. What an idiotic thing to do. You're fighting for your lives. This is like in a big match. But again, as I said, this goes down to inexperience. This kid's, what, 23, 24. He couldn't handle the occasion. He let it get to him, and apparently I'm hearing that they were playing loads of long balls, pointless long balls to him, and he's not the best in the air. He's up against Botman and Dan Burn, who are like giants. So those tactics, really, that's ridiculous. And he lost his head. He's got to think about the consequences now. So not only did he lose us this game, he's out for our last two games. Hopefully Mark Gui can come back and do something in this game, because we do need a focal point up front. And so he's cost us. And he's cost us a lot of times this year. And that's the problem with what I've been saying about Nicholas Jackson, or the way that we've done our planning. This guy is not ready to lead the line for a big club like Chelsea. He's someone who needs to grow. He needs someone who's experienced to help him. But he's our main striker, and he's a lot of times he's been found wanting. He's not clinical enough in front of goal. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's not a bad player, but he's just a poor finisher. And when you need the big guns to come out in games like this against your Newcastles, in cup finals, in semi-finals, where you need that character, where you need that personality, where you need that experience, that's what we're lacking. And why didn't we spend? I know they're saying Osimhen and he's quite expensive or whatever. A deal could have been done even on loan. Even if you're thinking, okay, just do a loan move for now, at the beginning of this season, and even if you were paying him, say, an extra 100,000 a week, say, I'm just being liberal, generous with that, 100,000 a week, and that's say even if he's getting over 4 million over the course of the year. I don't want to do the quick maths, but it's 520,000, is it, over the year, or 5.2 million? 5.2 million, isn't it, or something like that? So even if we were playing him 4 or 5 million, how much is Champions League? Champions League is worth, the difference between Champions League and missing out on Champions League is astronomical. You're talking about 60 million pounds for Champions League, as opposed to not getting Champions League. So if you're paying someone 5 million, for argument's sake, that's 55 million pounds that you've gained by having somebody who's going to get you the goals to fire you into the Champions League. So you've got to think like that. You just don't, and if it was a loan move, it didn't work out or something, then we wave goodbye. If it did work out, then we've got enough money to be able to put him on a 2, 3 year, 4 year contract or whatever, and that's what you do. So that's what I would have done if I was like one of the directors. It makes sense. You've got to look at, whenever you're running a business or doing a business, you look at cost benefit. You do a cost benefit analysis. So okay, I'm costing this, but what is going to be the benefit in the long run? That's what happens when you don't have business people in charge. I don't know. So yeah, so he's out now. He's cost us, and yeah. So as I said, we don't beat Man U on Friday. We don't deserve Champions League at all. Villa are breathing down our necks, so that's why we need the 6 points. We can't even get 4 because we're not only looking at Nottingham Forest now. We're looking at Aston Villa. Aston Villa have to play both Man United and Tottenham. Tottenham are going to the same boat. They've got their eyes totally on the Europa League. Man United against Villa may be different, because if Man U win the Europa League, then they will last game of the season, they will heads up high. So that's probably why I probably want Man United to win it, actually. So you want them to go on a high. There's no pressure on, and all the pressure will be on Villa, and Manchester United win that game, then we get a point against Nottingham Forest or something, then that's another way. So we've got multiple ways of getting into the top 4. But as I said, Nottingham Forest's crowd is loud, just like at St James's Park. So we've got to handle their crowd. I think they were voted the noisiest crowd in the Premier League, or one of the top 2 noisiest crowds in the Premier League. So it's not going to be easy going there. But my only hope is that the pressure what Nottingham Forest are feeling at the moment will be too much for them, and it would allow us to get a result. But as I said, it's so annoying because had we won today's game, then we could have been on 66 points, ahead of Manchester City as well. With Nottingham Forest on 62, they would have kind of been finished. Now, we would have only needed one win. If we had won today, we'd only need to beat Manchester United, and we'd have gone into that Forest game without no pressure whatsoever. So, and one word on the manager as well. This is the thing. Okay, we were praising him last week for the Caicedo role, but Eddie Howe's not stupid. Managers today are not stupid. He'd have studied the way that we played against Liverpool. He'd have thought, okay, they're going to play the same way against us. So what he did something clever. He put a more attacking lineup. He had Anthony Gordon and Barnes on that side, knowing to give pressure to Caicedo. He's not really, he's an auxiliary right back. So we need to second. That's what I liked about Jose Mourinho and managers like that. What they said is, you know what, this is what Eddie Howe's going to do, so I'm going to prepare a different way. So they could tell you what the other manager was thinking, and that's the psyche of an experienced manager as well. So he's probably thought, Newcastle are going to expect us to set up in this way. Let's set up in a different way. So I'm here, and as I said, I need to I haven't watched the full game, but I'm hearing that when Reece James came on and our fullbacks gave us width, that's when we looked better. Playing the inverted, we were funneling it into to Newcastle with their big guys, and they loved that because they got a big team and they could handle the pressure quite easily. So we adapted better when we went back to playing the wide defender. I think in a couple of games when we've decided in the second half to push our fullbacks wider, that's when we got joy. But then he's come back with this inverted nonsense that doesn't work. So I'm hoping that lessons will be learned by the time we play against Nottingham Forest and Newcastle and Manchester United. It's still in our hands. So I said I'm going to judge him at the end of the season. That's when I'll judge him. But at the moment, he's 50-50 for me. But I'll see what happens. We need to win our last two games. We need to win the Conference League, and then we'll see how it goes. But guys, are you confident? Are you confident that we will get into these top 5 places, or do you see us getting in? As I said, Nottingham Forest, no form whatsoever. So it's a nice time to play them. Manchester United with nothing to play for. So guys, it's in our hands. But my niggling thing, which I've been talking about, the niggling thing for me is a lack of experience from us. We've got a bit of heart apparently in the second half, but that lack of experience to carry us over the line. We needed a couple of early goals against Man U just to silence them, put the crowd, put them under pressure. We need to score the first goal against Nottingham Forest, because every time Nottingham Forest lose that first goal, they struggle. So we need to score that first goal against Nottingham Forest as well, and that's what we need to be doing to get top 5. So it's still, as Alex Ferguson says, squeaky bum time. Let me know your comments about the game in the comment section below. Don't forget, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to be notified every time I make a new video. So take care. Bye bye.